And joining us now, Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware. He is a member of the Foreign Relations Committee. It's good to have you on this morning.
Thanks so much for being with us, Senator. We just heard Richard Engel correctly say we have three actors right now that we have to deal with: Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran. And yet that's three heads of the same body, which starts in Tehran. What can the United States do moving forward to put more pressure on Iran or turn the screws more on Iran so they're not able to continue funding terrorism at the levels they funded it over the past several years?
Well, Joe and Mika, it's great to be on with you. And I'm encouraged that President Biden is making this risky but important trip to show solidarity with Israel, to meet with the King of Jordan and the leader of Egypt, and to engage with the region. 10 days ago, as we all know, the world woke up to horrific attacks, a massacre by Hamas terrorists of 1,300 Israeli civilians, which included 30 Americans. This is a moment when we need a president leading on the world stage with decades of experience, a seasoned leader like President Biden who understands these complex regional dynamics. We can and should strengthen and continue the engagement with other regional actors like Saudi Arabia, like Egypt, like Jordan, who are already at peace with Israel or willing to consider making peace with Israel, to strengthen Israel's security in the region and to strengthen Israel and the region's ability to deter and push back on Iran. We in the Senate should promptly take up additional measures to sanction Iran, to confirm ambassadors. We lack ambassadors to most of the critical countries in the region: Israel, Egypt, and a half dozen others. And to make sure that we're showing here in Congress the sort of solid bipartisan support that Israel deserves and needs in this moment.
Senator, good morning. As Israel prepares what is expected to be a massive ground invasion response to those terrorist attacks on October 7th, what is your sense of the responsibility of Israel and perhaps the United States and the president this week to lean on the prime minister on the humanitarian crisis unfolding inside of Gaza? That is to say, to get civilians, women, children, and other people not affiliated with Hamas out of harm's way before that happens. And if so, how do you do it? And how important is Egypt?
Egypt is critical, and that's why Secretary Blinken has been traveling throughout the region, tirelessly engaging with Egyptian leadership, Israeli leadership, and other regional Arab state leaders, because we also are concerned about the humanitarian consequences in Gaza. There is no country in the region volunteering to take Gazan refugees, Palestinian refugees from Gaza. But we are trying to negotiate getting humanitarian aid into Gaza, getting the water and electricity turned back on. This is a very difficult operating environment for the Israeli Defense Forces. Their effort to go into Gaza, to root out Hamas, is going to be undertaken in what is a very difficult tactical situation, both from a military perspective and a humanitarian perspective. And it's my hope that the negotiations that Secretary Blinken has been leading, now that President Biden is soon on his way, will lead to some engagement by Egypt to allow humanitarian relief in through the southern end of Gaza.
Senator, once you separate, and it's hard to separate it, the most vicious terrorist attack upon Israel that killed more Jews in a single day, perhaps, than any event since the Holocaust. Once you separate that from what's going on in Gaza, you see a parade of misery in Gaza.
Yes.
My question to you is, Gaza is surrounded. The president is going to go see the King of Jordan, I guess, in a couple of days. So you've got countries like Jordan, you've got Egypt, you've got Saudi Arabia, you've got the United Arab Emirates, you've got Bahrain, and on and on and on in the Arab world, and they will not take the Palestinians. Those countries will not accept any Palestinians. Why is that?
Well, this is part of the ongoing challenge of the region, that the Palestinians and their plight, their cause, has largely been left to the side. Bibi Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, has been doing things in recent years to change facts on the ground in a way that makes a two-state solution harder and harder to imagine. And this brutal terrorist attack by Hamas, frankly, focuses the mind of all in Israel on why they would ever consider negotiating with someone like Hamas. So Israelis who withdrew from Gaza, I'll remind you, they had full control of Gaza and withdrew from Gaza in 2005, pulled out the settlers, handed back Gaza to Palestinian control. Israelis look at the situation in the West Bank and in Gaza and say, who are we supposed to negotiate with? The region, the Arab states in the region, express their sympathy, their support, but have not provided the funding or the development assistance to turn Gaza or the West Bank into livable, sustainable places. We are going to have to lead in this moment. American presidents now for more than a decade have been trying to pivot to Asia. We keep getting pulled back into the Middle East. As this ground offensive begins, assuming it does soon in Gaza, I'm hoping our president, our Secretary of State, and many of us here in the Senate will be asking the question, what comes after? It is completely understandable that Israel is seeking vengeance for this brutal terrorist attack on their civilians. But it is also, from our own experience in Afghanistan, a question we have to ask. What comes next? How is there any path towards both justice for the victims of terrorism and peace between Israelis and Palestinians? And we must promptly begin trying to prepare the grounds for some future path in which we can imagine some peaceful resolution to all this on the far side of this terrible conflict.
Democratic Senator Chris Coons of Delaware, thank you very much for coming on this morning.